All right, we are live.
Woohoo!
Rima, how Joyce Loy, how are you?
I'm
Mm,
fine.
Doing super good, super excited. I can feel that energy in the room today, and oh my gosh, I can't wait for people to kind
I
of get in
know.
touch with energy. It's like so hot and live right now. Yeah.
I love that energy. I love that energy. Right, I'll just jump right into it. Hi, everybody. Those who are watching us now, those who will be watching the replay. We are so excited to be doing the second webinar in February, which is the month of love, month of remembering to love ourselves and to love others. So we are super excited in today's topic, which is going to be a series. We're going to start today with the first part, and then you're going to do another part next week and another part the last Wednesday of February. So my name is Jane Njogu. I am a transformation mindset coach, and I'm super excited to be leading the conversation today, where we're going to be talking about procrastination, its types, and causes. So before we dive right in, I will let my co-hosts introduce themselves. I'll start with Madhurima, and then we'll move to Coach Joyce Loy. Over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Jane. Super excited to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm Madhurima Sapati, and I'm a Freedom Soul Coach. I genuinely help multi passionate, ambitious dreamers manage their stress and prevent burnout so that they can go out there and work on their dreams without their own selves holding them back. A lot of that involves moving towards freedom, understanding what freedom means to them, and moving towards that version and their version of freedom. But I can genuinely go on and on about it, and I don't want to deviate from the amazing topic that we have today. So I'm going to pass the baton on to Joyce Loy. Let's go.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Madurma. My name is Joyce Loy, better known as the Dare to Glow Coach, because my life has been a dare. Yes, and I'm still living that testimony. So, what I love to do is to dare people to become the best version of themselves because there is always that inner you that you're scared to come out. So, my work is to take it out. As a confidence coach, I help you find purpose to live powerfully so that you can blossom. So if I go to introducing myself, I think just like Coach just says sometimes, I think I could write a whole book or just say a whole book just talking about myself because it's a lot. But just going into our topic today, I just want to share a quote from Graham Bell, I think Bell, right? He
Mhm.
said the only difference between success and failure is the ability to take action. So our topic today, and I'm not going to go into so much details, but I would want you to keep that in mind. The only difference between success and failure is taking action. Back to you, Coach Jay.
Thank you so much for that intro. And I love how you brought in action, remembering that you always insist you take action, action, action. And before we dive in, I just want to say that as a confidence coach, I've worked with you. It is through your works that I was able to come in because I was shy on the camera and see where I am today because of you. And I appreciate that. So, anybody who is looking for that little boost, I would highly recommend Coach Joyce Lloyd. Right. So today we are going to talk about procrastination. I know all of us know what procrastination is. At one point of life, you've used that statement, or someone has used it around you. Maybe you even said it this morning or when you're watching this replay. But it is something that is happening. It is something that we often use it without understanding what you're really talking about. And does it really have a cure, or can it really be controlled? And that's why we feel like this topic today is really important for all of us because I have been there. I have been guilty of procrastinating. I know Coach Madurema has been guilty. I know Coach Joyce has been guilty. But we want all of us to learn how to manage it. So I will start by saying procrastination is just simply avoiding to do things or postponing, just delaying to do tasks. Maybe because maybe these things are important, but you keep on coming up with excuses and all that. And I'll not dive deep into that because I know Coach Joyce Law and Coach Maturima has more to say. But just for the mere definition, we're just looking at procrastination as that delaying of tasks or maybe avoiding to do tasks. Maybe you're just like, not now, tomorrow, not now, tomorrow. Maybe you all have all these excuses. And the word I want to highlight there is excuses. Right. So I will go to Coach Joyceley and ask Coach Joyceley, what are the types of procrastination?
All right. So before I actually go into the types of procrastination, I would say normally we procrastinate because we think we are not good enough, because we think we are not smart enough. I don't know if that has come to you, but for me, I've been at that point of my life where I'm like, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I capable? And then I find myself delaying tasks or not even doing something because that has crossed my mind, or because someone has actually told me and I already think about it. So I add it together and I'm like, it's not necessary. Before I know it, it was really as necessary as possible. And that goes to my types of procrastination. You see, the word is even very too much linguisticness there. But the types are three. I'm only going to share three types. Maybe there are more types, but the ones I could come across were three. There is the classic. There is the classic procrastination, which is cautiously delaying. We know we should do something, but we keep delaying it. In simple terms, I'll give an example. I love examples. They make life easy for me, they make life easy for you to understand. So, a simple example is a bill on the counter. You have this water bill, electricity bill that is so urgent. You need to get it paid, and you have the money to pay it. You get it, you look at it, you put it on the table, and you tell yourself, you know what, I'll do this later. I feel tired and exhausted. So you put the bills aside. And what do? You get a Coca-Cola, you sit and chill on Netflix with popcorn. That day goes by and you did not pay the bill. Before you know it, you have a knock on your door. Hey, you've not yet paid your bills. And what caused that? It's not that you didn't have money, just one reason: procrastinating. And this one is the classic type, the real type that we all go through. If someone tells me they haven't gone through that, I will be like, they're lying. So, how to avoid it? That will be we'll talk about that later. So I'll go to my next one because I'm going to make mine as simple as possible for you to understand. The next one is the creative avoidancy. So just like the word creative, avoidancy, the word is creative. You find creative ways of avoiding to do things. So you have all these different things happening at the same time. And what do you tell yourself? Subconsciously, you say, you know what? I'll do this later. And at the end of the day, you don't progress in one thing. You find yourself pausing. Let me pause this and do this. So while you're pausing something, you find yourself, it never gets complete at all. I'll give another example. I'm doing art. I'm halfway through finishing the art, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll finish this art later. I have something much more better to do. And before you know it, the art never gets done. You just keep looking at it and it gets dust. Another better example is health wise. Personally, I love my teeth. I take care of my teeth like no man's business. Any toothache, I'm off to the dentist. So my example is going to be to the dentist. So you have a dentist appointment to fix your teeth. You've been having a toothache, night in, night out. So you make this appointment. Hey, doctor, I'll be coming through tomorrow. Okay. And then you come back from work, you find this house dirty, and some people are perfectionists. The fact that you're a perfectionist, you don't want your house to be in a mess or something. So maybe a friend tells you, I'm coming over maybe later in the evening. Instead of considering your toothache appointment to the dentist, you consider cleaning the house. When you look at those two things, which one was supposed to be done first? I'm very sure you know the answer. Going for that to the dentist to get your tooth fixed. So when you look at that kind of avoidance, the creative avoidance, it's as simple as that. It's creative way of avoiding very important things for the less important. My next example is going to be priority delusion. But before I share that, I'll give a small word of advice. Success and greatness are not related to the volume of tasks that are complete, but simply the significance of them. So you might have so many tasks to do, and people look at you and they're like, oh my God, she's so busy. She's so busy with her life. Or you, even yourself, every time someone talks to you, I'm busy. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy, but there is nothing making you busy. You're just watching videos on YouTube, scrolling through. So success cannot be measured by greatness. That's my opinion. It's not measured by greatness, but the significance of what you do. So my next type of procrastination is going to be the third one, and the last one that I'll be sharing is priority delusion. So priority is just like the word says, priority. This is mostly for overthinkers. And I'm very sure we'll talk about a word perfectionist somewhere. I don't want to go into details, but this one applies a lot to the perfectionists. So this is a chronicle overachievers form. It is for the overachievers. You have all these things lined up for your day, and you are not lazy. It's not like you're lazy. It's not like you did not have time to do it, but you put less attention to what is more urgent, and you put the attention to the things that are not urgent. So just like I said, priority delusion, you put attention, more attention to things that are not urgent or things that are not so important, and you forget the ones that are important. By the time you remember the ones that are important, it is what? It is too late. I'll do it tomorrow. And just like they say, procrastination happens, you stay tomorrow, 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 which never comes. Basically, I'm a believer. Tomorrow never comes. It's either I do it today or tomorrow never comes. So, how can we try and avoid these things? That will be something we'll discuss. So those were my types of procrastination. The first one was classic procrastination. The second one is creative avoidancy, and the third one was priority delusion. I'll give it back to you to Coach Jay.
Oh, thank you so much. Listening to you has made me reflect back and see the time I was in those three categories at one point in life, one point or another. I've been there. I know I've been in the classic, in the delusion, and all that. So when I was listening to you again, I remember statements of how we normally say, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll do it tomorrow if," we include that if in that statement, or "I need to have some well-deserved rest before I do this," or "I'll do it in the evening." We just come up with these, excuses all the time that we're trying to avoid doing that task. Sometimes we'll be like, "I'll relax a little bit and then I step out," or "My problem is this, so I'll first fix this and then I do this." So you're always coming up with excuses. And I see Paul is watching us. Hi, Paul. And Paul says, loving these different types of procrastination, got joy. So without further ado, I will move on to Madhurima, who is going to give us some light, some insights of what
I am
he's
so
going to
excited.
drop the mic for all of us and tell us what are the causes. Over to you, Madhurima.
Yes, I am so excited. Honestly, before I dive into that, because it was such an amazing thing because I was honestly writing things down on my palm. Like, I was like, where's my book? I don't have a book. All right, let me write all the things
Get
that
a
I'm.
notebook. Get a notebook. Get a notebook, Coach.
I genuinely have like 10 different notebooks littered around the room, and just today, for some joy or reason, nothing's available around me. And I was like, let me write it down on my palm so that I don't forget some of the amazing insights that you have shared here. Thank you so much for that. All right, people, let's jump into the causes of procrastination. Now, there are multiple types of causes, and obviously, I can go on and on about the different reasons why we tend to procrastinate. However, I wanted to pick up three for brevity's sake and for sharing the impact of what procrastination can do, and some of the three most popular things that usually lend to procrastination and has affected me a lot. So number one is perfectionism, which Coach Joyce was talking about. I feel like for the perfectionists out there, we often find ourselves procrastinating because we are like, this has to be perfect. I need to figure out everything possible to ensure that I have all the right material so that I can go out there and I can put this out there and it's perfect, it's amazing, it's exciting as hell, it's everything that I want it to be. And I have personally noticed it within myself, and I want anyone who's watching this live or replay to drop a one if you resonate with this. But basically, there are times when I get super excited about a topic and I'm like, this is such an amazing topic, which genuinely was happening today, right? Like I was listening to all the amazing things that we are sharing here, and I was like, I need to make a course about procrastination and stress management and how we can do all of those things. And then I was like, you know what? I need to research. I need to have all my details right. I need to have everything I could possibly have to create the course. And I have noticed this in the past that every time do something like this, where I kind of delay the creation process for the sake of ensuring that I have everything right, that never gets done. Right. And I'm not saying that you don't need to research. I'm not saying that you don't need to put your head into the books and be like, what's happening around here? Look into the different things that people are sharing. But a lot of times, chasing perfectionism leads to us always chasing the dream to create rather than actually creating, which brings us back to the amazing quote that Coach Joyce was sharing earlier. Like, it's about the action, right? We tend to avoid action. And something about perfectionism is, I like to say this a lot, what could have been perfect right now is possibly not perfect enough in the next 5 minutes to go. Right? Like, if you think that everything I have right now is perfect and amazing, 5 minutes later, you'll find hundreds of mistakes within that. You'll find hundreds of new resources to add on to that. Oh, some person said this, which is amazing. I need to add that too. I need to add this too. I need to add this too. So the intention around being so focused on perfectionism can actually take us away from actually creating. And in doing so, we can tend to, we can procrastinate, because we are like, let us have all the requirements, all the details, everything ready before we actually put there. That can lead to perfect procrastination. Number two is fear of failure. How many times have we decided, and I'm pretty sure this is all like interconnected, right? Like, how many times out there we have decided that, you know what, this is amazing, I want to try this, I want to give this a try, and then there is our own fear holding us back. There is thought processes from around the world, from what people share, from what our loved ones share, that is like, you know what, let's not do this. You don't know enough, you don't, you haven't learned enough. Oftentimes this is something that holds back so many entrepreneurs, so many coaches, creatives out there in the world. Anyone who's deciding to take that first step forward is so afraid to fail, is so afraid of rejections, that you take that step back and move 100 steps back because you're afraid to take that 2 steps forward. you know Drop a two if this is landing for you. But fear of failure is one of the biggest reasons why people tend to procrastinate, because they don't want to put a failed item out there, right? Once again, clearly linked with the perfectionism, because if it's not perfect, it's a failure. And so people tend to not create, people tend to not put their work out there, people tend to fear the fact that they might fail, and they procrastinate doing the work that they have to do, that they know that they should be doing. This is something that is so potent for people who are aware that they have a gift to share. This is one of the biggest reasons why that fear of failure is such a huge thing for them, because they are aware that they have a gift that's literally handwritten on their soul. And now they are here in this space where they are given an opportunity, or where they have created that opportunity for themselves to share the work that they have to share, to share their gift. And they're so scared of the fact that I might not deliver this right, I might not do this right, that they don't take that step forward. And I hear you guys, but also, this is something that one of my coaches always said: the fruit doesn't belong to the tree, right? The fruit is meant to be shared with the world, and you will never be able to do that if you're afraid whether the animal or the human who's going to eat my fruit, if it's going to like the fruit or not. You need to let that drop, you need to let that be shared however it has to be shared. Whew, amazing. All right. Number three, fear of success. Kind of counterproductive and counterintuitive, but here's what I mean by this. A lot of times, especially when we are doing something that we are extremely passionate about and extremely excited about, it can so happen that we are scared of succeeding. And this happens a lot of times with people who have struggled for a really long time in their life. When suddenly the opportunity to actually go out there and do the work that they have to do, and know that they will end up succeeding in this, there is that fear that holds them back of, am I actually succeeding? Is there something wrong here? Shouldn't I have struggled a bit more? Shouldn't I have worked a bit harder? This doesn't seem right. Something's iffy here. Let me take a step back. Let me check if I've done everything right. And that thought process can lead you into a space of procrastination because you're so scared of succeeding, because you don't know what success looks like. You have thought about it, you have imagined it, you're literally about to manifest it, but it's so scary that you're like, you know what, let me step back. I can't do this. This is scary. What if I succeed? What happens then? I don't know. I have been so used to the concept of chasing my dreams that now that my dreams are turning into reality, I'm scared of what I will do after that. And it reminds me of that beautiful um, line from, I don't know how many of you all have watched Tangled, because I am someone who loves children's movies. And towards the end of Tangled, Flynn Rider says this, right? Like, I have been living such a long dream, and the dream concept is present throughout the movie. But there is this aspect of, well, this has been my dream. Leaving the tower has been my dream. Being out here has been my dream. I don't know what to do next. That's when you dream a new dream. So allow that flow to take you and just do it. You know, at the end of the day, the fruit doesn't belong on the tree. I think that is something that is really huge. The is meant to be shared. So yeah, three causes, and I think inevitably I also ended up sharing some of the ways that you can work on those types of procrastinations. But yeah, here we go. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this.
Thank you so much. Listening to you, I have so many questions in mind. But before we do that, I have seen a question here. How do you define procrastination? Thank you so much, Paul, for that. So, personally, I define procrastination as the delay or avoidance of doing a certain task. I don't know if Madhurima or Coach Joyce, you have a different definition. Coach Joyce, Coach Madhurima.
I think for me, I kind of agree with what you're saying as well. I feel like at the end of the day, it's about avoiding the action, you
Mm.
know, avoiding taking that step forward for whatever reason that you're taking. And that can look like procrastination. It can be different things altogether, but it is somewhere around that. Although,
Mhm.
literally excited to hear what you guys have to say to that.
I don't know if Coach Joyce
Yeah,
has
so for me,
a
my definition would be just like I shared before. Success, the difference between success and failure is one thing: action, taking action.
Mhm.
While a person who is failing has decided, oh, I failed, they sit back. But if you want to succeed at anything, you have to take action. Most cases, when we procrastinate, we don't take action at things that we want to take action, the things we want. So for me, that's why if I define the word procrastination, it could be the delay, it could be all these things. But at the end of the day, I would also define it as that place in your mind where you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not ready, or it can wait, and all these things. So you find yourself delaying, and just like what just said, you delay things, you keep postponing because you feel you're not ready, you feel you're not good enough or smart enough to be able to execute those things. And at the end of the day, one thing I wanted to also share is the discipline.
Mm.
Sometimes we are also scared. We are not, we are scared of being disciplined, or some people actually do not want to hear the word discipline. When you're disciplined, there is no way you fail to do the things you want to do. But if you're not disciplined, you have things lined up to do for the day, and you find yourself on social media because looking through someone's feed is what is priority to you at that point. You
Mm.
actually even forget the things that are supposed to be your priority. So for me, procrastination, I would actually term it as so many things, and I think I have so many explanations, but that is the best I could give. Sometimes it's not having discipline,
Mm.
just always thinking of less priority and forgetting the priority, things that you're supposed to be completing and doing at that point of time. Back to you, Coach Jay.
Thank you. It's
Can I?
amazing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to add one thing here is I feel like procrastination at the end of the day is what you mean it to be. You know, like everyone has a specific definition of procrastination. And so something that I'd like to invite people to do here, all the viewers who are watching this live or replays to actually share in the comments below how you define procrastination. What does procrastination look like to you as an individual? Because this will allow you to take a step back and actually reflect on the times that you have procrastinated and understand the reason why you procrastinated there. Because once you have that awareness, you can then take a directed action.
Hmm.
Instead of shooting in the dark and hoping that it hits the target, you have a flashlight that's pointing you towards where you need to hit the arrow. And so you're much more aware. So that is something that I'd invite people to do.
Amazing. That's a nice challenge for everyone who is watching this live or the replay. Thank you so much, ladies. Now, listening to both of you giving us the types and the causes, I could not help but wonder, because justly at the end of your statement, you said something about prioritization. And I just wanted to ask, is there a difference between procrastination and prioritization? Is there a difference? Because sometimes I might argue and say I'm not procrastinating, I'm just prioritizing something else. I don't know what you ladies have to say about that, because I believe there's some projects I have pending. Some I don't know if I'm procrastinating or I'm I'm just prioritizing something.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So the difference between, in my own opinion, and I like what Coach Madrima shared, we all look at procrastination in different ways. I may be looking at you and I'm like, hey, you didn't complete the other tasks. What happened? And you tell me I had much more work that was more urgent and had a priority than that. So for you at that point of time, that is priority. And that is maybe prioritizing. You're prioritizing that. But in my opinion, I'm like, but that came first. I gave you that task first. How come you're doing the other person's task first? So, Coach Madrima was right. Everyone looks at procrastination in a different way. But my definition, or the way I would look at the difference between procrastination and prioritization is uh, procrastination is avoiding something that needs to be done. We
Okay.
avoid because we want to postpone, because we think we are not good enough, because those are all thoughts. That is all mindset. That's why I always invite people to join the Mindset Shift CEO group, because you need to shift that mindset from just thinking things to knowing that it's your mindset that makes you think of those things and not getting them done.
Hmm.
Going back to the next one, the difference between procrastination and prioritization. So prioritizing is figuring out what is most important to you and
Hmm.
doing things in that order. And that's why I said what may be a priority to you as Coach J may not be to me. Like, I'll give a small example about my personal experience just recently when I went for a holiday in Uganda. When I went for a holiday in Uganda, I had a lot of things that I had to complete. A lot. Studying, the list is endless. But when I was going to Uganda, I remember even telling Coach J, I am going to have fun. I'm going to spend time with family. So everything else is going to have to wait until I am back after December. And for me, that was priority to me. So to some people, some things I'd paused, some things I'd put behind. But for me, at that point of time, what I prioritized was having fun, getting a break, giving myself a break from all these things I've been doing from the from the beginning of the year. I'm like, December, I'm telling a chillaxing mood. I'm going into the chillaxing mood. So for me, chillaxing mood was top list prioritization. I prioritized that. And I didn't care what anyone else thought of that. So it depends. And just like the word prioritizing, it depends on what is most important to you and figuring out how to get it done. Otherwise, for me, procrastination is more of avoiding, and the other one is the one for making sure you get your things done. To you, Coach Magri, may you share your opinion about this?
I love everything that you shared, Coach Joyce. Personally, for me, I feel like something that I often do is actually look at my tasks without a bias. So, a lot of times, every time I sit down to actually work and I am in that space where I want to focus and get a lot of things done, I, number one, pick my energy zones, which is really important for me. Is I know that if I am going to start working when I have low energy, which is usually in the mornings, it takes literally sacrifices to gods kind of a thing to actually get me moving, because I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is not something that's a priority for me. I'm not interested in this. So for me, it's really important to actually start working when my energy levels are extremely high, which are in the night. And what I usually do is I do a brain dump of everything that I possibly have to do. Right. So this is all the tasks written down on a piece of paper, in my diary, in my journal, where I look at it and I'm like, okay, let's prioritize this into what is urgent for me, like what needs to get done as soon as possible and shared to as many people as possible. What is important, which can take some time, right? It's not like extremely urgent, it can take a while for me to actually get this out there. What is something that is slow, that I can do throughout the day, there's not a necessity for me to get this done as soon as possible, and what can be done later, which is basically, even if I don't end up doing this today, it's not going to affect me or affect the work that I have to create. I organize my tasks this way, and I need to keep an eye out for biases, because a lot of times something might be extremely urgent, but I'd be like, you know what, I can do this during the day, I can do this 10 days later and stuff like that. And so I need to kind of notice where I'm placing those biases. And so this is a practice that I do in a lot of awareness. This helps me prioritize my tasks and also keep an eye out for what I'm procrastinating. Like for me, I procrastinate editing my videos a lot. Right? Editing, uh I have podcast episodes booked out and recorded till season 6. That's like 15 to 20 episodes that I have ready, and have been delaying editing it because it's not something that's like, you know what, I don't like it. So for me, even though it might be a priority, I'm procrastinating on it because I don't like doing it. So a lot of times I have to look into these biases and notice them for what they are and be like, you know what, this is just something that you don't align with energetically. So what's something that we can do is actually reach out to someone who loves doing this and ask them to get that done. Delegate your tasks, delegate the tasks that you don't want to do and get someone else to do it, so that you can focus on those high energy tasks. But yeah, for me, coming back to your original question, prioritizing is something that I often do without the biases, because that helps me kind of get going and take action on the awareness that I've created for myself. And instead of procrastinating, I actually take action. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, you have done a deep dive, both of you, into details on how to, distinguish between procrastination and prioritization. And I love your last point on how we can, avoid procrastination or overcome procrastination, which is going to be a topic on its own, because I know there's so many. There's no one injection suits all. There's no one medicine suits all. We, as you said before, we all have different definitions. And I see Paul has put his definition in the comments. Where he states that for me, procrastination is avoiding taking action on something I don't want to take action on, but which is needed. I think the three main ingredients are avoidance, resistance, and desire. And I absolutely agree with him. And that leads on to the next question that, again, Paul had was, do you think procrastination can ever be a positive thing? Do you think procrastination can ever be a positive thing? I see Joyce nodding her head, and I'll let her go first and tell us why she's nodding her head.
Yes, yes. And sorry, another question. No, don't be sorry, Paul. We love these questions. Personally, I think procrastination can be a positive. Why? Because most cases, like for example, when I look at the priority delusion, you know, like the thing might be of a priority at that point of time,
Mm,
but me doing what I was doing, of course, apart from the social media, maybe you're updating your status. But apart from the social media, for me, I
mhm,
feel it can also be a positive when you procrastinate. I can be like, you know what, this task is not, it's a priority, but I can hand it in maybe in the next day. And just like you always say, Coach Jay, sometimes we burn out because we want to do everything at the same time. So you
mm,
have all these tasks, instead of breaking them down, you want to do them at the same time because, oh, I don't want people to say I procrastinate. I don't want people to think that I don't complete my tasks on time. So I feel when you give yourself time, And for me, I'll always say when you give yourself a break, because to some people that may look like I'm procrastinating, but taking a break makes me
Mm.
feel refreshed to do everything right and better. So if I take a break, I tell myself, you know what, I need to complete this task, but let me take a break. I'm going to come back to do this task much better. So for me, it can be a positive in such a way that I can do things better than I would have done them at that point of time when I feel overwhelmed, especially when I get overwhelmed with a lot of tasks. So if I take a pause and take a breather, take water, go relax, take a walk, and come back and do my tasks, I feel I can do better than if I was doing it on a rush or because I want to prove to someone that I'm not procrastinating. I don't know if that answered. Coach Madrima, if you could share your point.
Yeah, I definitely love everything that you shared. Once again, Coach Joyce, it was such a wonderful explanation that you gave. For me personally, I also think that procrastination can be a positive thing because it's like warning signs, you know. It shows
Mm.
you what you don't want to focus on. It shows you what you're avoiding, like pretty much what you said, Paul. It shows you on what you're avoiding or what you're resisting. I feel like a lot of times we go through life just ignoring the signs, avoiding the signs. Like, you know that there's a bulb lit on the side of the road, but you're
Mhm.
focused. You can see from the corner of your eye that, I see a bulb lighting up there. But you're so focused on just moving forward, go, 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 that you don't see this warning signs light up your pathway. And so for me, I feel like when you tend to procrastinate, it allows you to actually reflect back and look at, why am I procrastinating this? I mean, I know it's a priority task. I know that this is important. I know that this is going to serve me. This is going to serve my business or whatever else that it's potentially going to serve. Your task is potentially going to serve you in. You still end up procrastinating. And so that gives you the space to actually think about, well, why am I procrastinating?
Mm.
What is causing the procrastination? What is making me feel resistant to do this task, you know? And that can be a great way to actually understand what the next steps look like. Once you're aware, you can work on the next steps. If you're not aware, you're once again shooting in the dark. You don't know what you're potentially finding a solution for. You just know that you're looking for a solution, but you don't know what that solution is, what problem it is solving. What are the signs and symptoms? Like, I always break things down into signs and symptoms. What are the signs, symptoms, causes, effects, and how do we treat it? Right. So yeah, that would be my answer. Coach Jane, anything you want to add to that?
I feel like when I listen to you ladies and from my own assessment, I feel like it can be positive because sometimes you buy the time for you to come back and become more resourceful. I have procrastinated from time to time. And when I came back in, I felt like my mind is at a different place. Sometimes it's good, but again, broadly we define procrastination of something that is bad. But if we sit down, as Madhurima has said, we ask ourselves, why am I avoiding this task? We are able to come up with the answers that are going to help us to tackle that task. And most of the time, we find ourselves, we are in the brim of time. When time is up, that's when you're like, oh no, I need to do this. So you start becoming so resourceful for you to get that task done. And I feel like going back to my question of prioritization, there is a thin line between procrastination and prioritization that we tend to miss a lot. We don't know which direction we are taking. I think that is something we need to be careful of, not to take the path you don't want to take. Um, that leads me to Paul has said that he's with you on the video editing. It's I think it's everybody who is on I believe it's everyone who is having that. Thank you so much, Paul, for the insights. And now, as I wrap up, I know, Madhurima, you've mentioned about the video editing, one of the things that you've been procrastinating. I want both of you to give me at least one instance when you have procrastinated, because this is something that is happening. This is something that all of us are, it's just happening. So I'll start with you, Coach Joyce Loy, and then I'll go back to Madhurima.
So I'll give one good example just recently in December. So when I went to this in December, I told myself, you know what, I'm going to do my course, the coaching mind course that I'm undergoing
Mhm.
for the level 5 certification. I told myself I'll do it at a slow pace. I'll do something so that when I come back from holidays, At least I'm done with level one. Yeah, it did not
Yeah.
happen. Ah! So it did not happen because
Mm,
first of all, I think it did not happen, and I that is the consolation I've had for myself. It did not happen because I prioritized enjoying time with family because it had been a long time. You know how it is. It's like working in the UAE. You only go home once in a year.
mm,
So I'm like, let me spend as much time as I can with family. And you know how people are here, see me, meet me. Even people you did not plan to see, you
mm.
always find yourself having to post some things just to make sure at least you see them, you have a chat, you know, catch up after a long time. So that is something I delayed on, and I don't like to delay my tasks. But at the end of the day, for me right now, I'm grateful that I took that break, that I didn't do it at that time because it would have been more of a rush, just watching and then doing just to finish it instead of understanding it. Because doing it right now has made me better at it because I write, I'm able to write points, and by the time I'm doing the quizzes, I'm able to answer them because I'm putting attention to it, more attention to it. So sometimes, like I was saying, it can be positive in its own way. You take a break, and by the time you come back to the task you're doing, you do it
Yeah.
amazingly, or you do it to the best of your ability, or you become more resourceful, like what Jay said.
Thank you so much. And Madhurima, do you have another instance where you have procrastinated?
Yeah, I mean, which one do I pick? You know, there are so many of them out there where I have procrastinated a lot. But I'm gonna go back to the video editing one because I'm so grateful that you brought that up, because that is something that I definitely procrastinate a lot on. Like editing in general, whether that's audio or video, can
Mm,
really throw me off on a loop, right? Like, oh my god, I don't like doing this. Like, I know that there are people out there who enjoy it, who find so much joy in it, and I am not one of those people, because it's just another task in me running my business. And oftentimes it's like, how do I go about this? So I feel like personally something that I've done to overcome it is have one day entirely for editing. So Fridays are made for editing, um, podcast episodes, editing videos, and all of those things. And two things that I do is, number one, I focus on what the impact is. What is this particular thing going to create? What is the impact that I'm looking for it to create on other people? So that's one thing that I focus on. Another thing that I do is, I honestly, I don't know how many of you all know it, but I am a comic geek. Like, I love reading comics. So I have an app called Webtoon on my phone. And while I'm editing out there, I am reading Webtoon on my phone so that I can be like, you know what? I am doing something that I love, which is reading comics, and I'm still getting my work done, which is amazing. I think for
mm,
me personally, as a multitasker, it works. Especially when I'm listening to something, I can kind of catch the tiny, minute details very quickly.
mm,
But yeah, that is something that I do. I end up mixing a couple of tasks. I focus on the impact that it has to create,
mm.
and I make it a bit more fun. Like, I add some, like we say in Hindi, you know, we add masala to it, which is basically like we add spices to it and we let it uh take where it takes us.
When you say masala, you take us to biryani, please. Don't do that.
Girl, oh my
Right.
gosh, don't start with biryani. I pestered my mom so much. Like, I live in one of the cities in India where biryani is the most popular dish ever. And I'm
Mhm.
honestly annoying her. Like, every time I go to make it, she's like,
No
let
biryani.
me make it. Let me make it. And then every time I'm like, Mommy, I wanna eat biryani. She's like, "Hut, not right now." And I'm like, bro, don't do this to me. But oh my gosh, she just, it's about to be 11 in the night and I'm excited about biryani, Jane. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's coming to 10 o'clock here. So when you mentioned biryani, you know, Jocelyn and I are getting ideas. So myself, an example of procrastination is when it comes to social media for my page. Whenever I feel like I want, like it's the day I need to, create the post for the week, I'll keep telling myself, not now, in the next one now, in the next one now. By the time I look at the time, it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And then what happens is because they need to go out, I end up working late because it has to be done. So I end up feeling like, oh man, I'm tired. I feel exhausted and all that, which affects the next day because if I sleep late, definitely I will not wake up very early. So it tends on going to affect things. But that's story for another day because we have lined up more sessions on procrastination. Now we can go on and on and on and on and on talking about this. We're going to cover about overcoming procrastination. You're going to cover if you can succeed with procrastination. You see there's the positive side of it. So we need to tackle that more and so many other bits of procrastination. If you're going to be watching the replay, make sure to let us know so that we know that you have been here, that you've been impacted, you've been incited. Those who are with us at this time, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your insights. And to Mathurima, Coach Mathurima, thank you so much for joining us at this time. I know it's 11 o'clock in India. You could be maybe in bed sleeping or enjoying a comic somewhere, but you opted to join us here for the Mindset Shift CEO's weekly live sessions. I don't know if you have any last words, Coach Mathurima, and then I'll go to Coach Jocelyn, and then we call it a wrap for today.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I'm extremely grateful. Another thing is I'm a night owl, so you can keep me up till like 5, 6 in the morning, and I'll stay up. You don't have to worry about that. But I'm extremely grateful to be here. I feel like sessions like these always ignite that spark of coaching in me, ignite the spark of learning in me, and I've definitely learned a lot here. So thank you so much for teaching me, being my teachers for today, which is amazing. And one last thing that I'd like to leave you with is once again the statement that the fruit is not does not belong to the tree. The fruit is meant to be shared. So once you're aware of what you need to do, take action and let that fruit be distributed to whoever it needs to go to. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Coach Jocelyn?
Coach Madrima, I wanted to share that. I wanted to say you inspired me with that quote. I don't know if it's a quote, if it's a saying, but I love it. The fruit doesn't belong to the tree. So while you're growing that tree, you plant, you water it and everything. The moment it makes fruits, those fruits are not yours alone. We have to share them together. I love that. And for me, when you say that, it reminds me of when I sat down with Coach Jay and we're starting the Mindset Shift CEO and telling ourselves, why are we starting this? Is it for us or is it for other people? And it reminds me that we didn't create it for us. We created it for people out there to understand that this mindset is your superpower. It can be your superpower or it can be your what? I won't be negative. So my
Mm.
last word today is going to be don't wait. The time will never be right. That will be my last word for today. Don't wait because the time will never be right. We pause things, we say we are not good enough, and all these things because we always feel like it's not yet time. It's not yet time, it can wait. But the time is always right. When you want to do that thing, the time is right for that thing to happen. And whatever you're doing at that point of time is what you're supposed to be doing. Back to you, Coach Jay.
Thank you so much, ladies, for the beautiful words. I know we can go on and on and on and on, but for the interest of time, we'll call it a wrap today and we'll pick on from there next week. Again, if you're watching replay and you have any questions for us, just put them in the comment section and we are going to be more than happy to answer them or address them in the next webinar. Other than that, have a good evening wherever you are, good morning, good day, depending on what time you're watching us. Bye.
Stay safe and stay blessed.
Bye, everyone.